Insight on what's happening over there and behind closed doors up on Capitol Hill. Join me tonight is the chairman of the Senate Intelligence Committee, Senator Richard Burr. Senator, thanks for being here.
Great to be here.
First, on the parlance that we use, what should we be using, and what about the president and how he characterizes this group?
Well, Brett, let's look at the specific facts. ISIL, a group of 20 to 40,000 fighters, are paid on a regular basis, and in any other country we would call that an army. They're a barbaric army. They've telegraphed everything that they're going to do, and it's amazing how the region is looking to the U.S. to lead, and the White House seems to just be content with following. The king's gone back to Jordan. They've taken the initiative. I hope that that initiative is something that gets us off dead center, because we need to leverage the entire region towards ISIL.
Are we doing enough? Can we get through the bureaucracy that apparently has held up some of this stuff getting to Jordan?
Brett, we took probably 4 times the number of airstrikes today because the Jordanians forced us to than a typical day. All of a sudden, an administration that said we just don't have legitimate targets. The Jordanians found targets today that were meaningful, and I hope that as the after-action reports come back, we'll find out that they did do significant damage. But again, this is a geographical area that makes most of the terrorist grounds that we've gone after in the past look like a playground.
Is this the definition of leading from behind?
Oh, I don't think there's any question it is. But what's at stake here is we're going to lose our regional partners if, in fact, we don't respond to the needs. If we don't answer our friends in the UAE, who are a full-fledged partner, then they're going to drop out. And these are all absolutely crucial components of our intelligence network throughout the Middle East as well.
And what's your sense of their concerns in this whole? Why they would not be bombing in Syria?
Well, they want to make sure that they've got the assets to bring their people back if, in fact, their planes went down. They want to make sure that America's on the front line. It doesn't mean we have to be right there inside, but it means we've got to be on the front line. And listen, every month that goes by, I see a new deployment of 82nd Airborne or Camp Lejeune Marines coming out of North Carolina, going over, training, advising, but being told you can't shoot your weapon unless somebody's shooting at you. That's not the Army we prepare.
We do these stories again and again and again. It doesn't seem to be changing. For the people out there who say, is anything moving? Is anything changing besides what Jordan is doing in the lead in Arab countries? Is anything changing in the dynamics here in the U.S.?
Well, I hear the talk out of the White House of the progress we've made. For every 1 ISIL fighter we kill, 3 come over the Turkish border as new recruits. They've got money. They've got something to sell, which is terrorism, barbaric terrorism, and we hope that they run out of recruits to go after.
Are you worried that they're going to come here?
I'm always worried that they're going to come here.
I mean, do you see stuff day to day that really raises your red flag about ISIS here?
In 14 years serving on the Intelligence Committee, either in the House or the Senate, I have greater fears today about something happening in the homeland than at any point after 9/11.
Any time after 9/11?
Yes.
Specific?
Absolutely. Yes. Any time after 9/11, I've got more fears today. Just simply because we're against a different enemy. We're against one that we might not be able to pick up the effort of an individual set of brothers like we saw in Paris. That now, as we look back, there was every reason to watch these folks very carefully. We're the best in the world, make no mistake about it, but we're not perfect. That's what scares me.
One more thing on this and what the president said today at the prayer breakfast. He said, unless we get on our high horse, lest we think that this is unique, and he pointed back to the Crusades and people doing terrible deeds in the name of Christ. What do you make of that?
You don't win this with rhetoric. You win it with action. You win it by putting together a coalition of people that are willing to actually go out and do something, and that's kill terrorists.
I want to turn to a domestic issue. You are one of the senators leading an alternative to Obamacare, putting it out. It's a framework, though. It's not real chock full of specifics. Can you break it down for us?
Yeah, we've put out a draft that we've solicited the best and the brightest to comment on it and make changes. But what it does is it repeals Obamacare. It sets up a fundamental framework which is financially sustainable into the future. We address those low-income Americans with targeted tax credits for the individual or for the family. we address changes like tort reform and things that have been cost increasers in the system. We actually go in and say to Medicaid beneficiaries, individuals on state Medicaid plans, listen, if Medicaid doesn't work for you, we'll give you the tax credit, and you can go in the private marketplace and buy in a competitive insurance marketplace and be like everybody else. We don't treat them as second-class citizens.
Preconditions?
Preconditions, as long as they stay insured after the open period, there's no plan that could ever drop them or raise their rate because of an illness.
Do you think Republicans rally around one alternative before the end of this Congress?
I don't think so. I think that there are going to be a lot of ideas, not only in Congress, but around the think tanks here in Washington and around the country. But I do say this, that we're going to know a lot more after the Supreme Court hears the King versus Burwell case, and that's going to be a short-term interim response. The long-term is, how do we revamp this in 2017 and after so it works for America's patients?
Senator Burr, as always, thank you.
Thank you.